Breaking news, is Deadpool getting worse by the month? And does he need a uniform to keep up with other stronger Tier 3 characters? Has Deadpool's value as a Tier 3 dropped since he was introduced? And more things that Cynicalex says that are true that upset people in the game because they don't like change and they're scared when their favorite meta characters get judged. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, and I'm going to present to you an idea that Deadpool is not very good nowadays compared to other stronger Tier 3 characters. So I'm going to go through my regular Deadpool rotation here. I'm pretty good at playing Deadpool. That was a mistake there. Well, it wasn't a mistake. I got it, my skill got interrupted. But we're gonna play Deadpool. We're gonna try to do a good job here. I just want to proc his Tier 3 skill once, and we're gonna stop it right here. Now this is done on purpose because I know what's going to happen if I can successfully land the following combo. And for those of you that play Deadpool really well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Look at how much damage he did with his Tier 3 skill. So that was two full rotations. That was two full procs of 5 and 4. One of them sort of got interrupted, but I still managed to proc a little bit on 5. And then it was the Tier 3 skill on the third proc. So we got 3 CTP of energy procs, 2 on his 5-4, and 1 on his 6. And we did, what is that? A fourth of a bar? We'll call that a fourth of a bar. He got to the continue line. It kind of lines up with the right side of the continue button. That's not a lot of damage. Now, of course, if I were to press continue, if I were to press the 1 skill, and then press the 3 skill, and then press the 4 cancel 5, and if I were to do so in perfect timing, I would get a massive damage spike. We all know about the massive damage spike for Deadpool. We all know about the fact that the only way to get to stage, well, presumably the only way to get to stage 99 right now in Proxima or Corvus World Boss Ultimate is to use the Sharon Rogers Deadpool combo. But what I want you to take note of is the fact that Deadpool is not there to deal damage. Even with his Tier 3 skill, even with his all defense down, even with the fact that he deals physical damage instead of energy damage, and Proxima is a boss, or Corvus has higher energy defense, as you guys always point out to me. Proxima also has higher energy defense. But the point is, Deadpool's just here to stack all defense down. And that's why I said you could replace him with Sabretooth in this combo. The one who's dealing all the damage, the one with the very high base damage, is Sharon Rogers. And so that's why I'm showing you guys this clip. I'm showing you guys this test on stage 78. It's a very high stage. I'm showing you this with Namor now. Now, I know Namor has a CTP of Rage, but he does not have all defense down. But Namor, a character introduced in 2019, he hits way harder than Deadpool does. And part of it is because of the CTP of Rage, sure. Part of it is because of just his higher base damage and because he doesn't have to rely on the all defense down. And so what happens is, when it comes to other content, we've already made this. So, by the way, with 1 rotation, Namor just did as much damage as Deadpool did in 2 rotations plus his Tier 3 skill. Now, we've already been able to recognize that Deadpool is not very good for, look at this, with the Tier 3 skill, by the way. This is with the Tier 3 skill. We've already been able to recognize that Deadpool's not very good for stages where the boss, whether it's Giant Boss Raid or whether it's Thanos Phase 2 or whether it's Scarlet Witch, when the boss has debuff. Because when you take the all defense down away from Deadpool, he doesn't hit hard at all. He hits very softly. He's like he's a noodle. Deadpool has very low base damage. Deadpool has very low base physical attack. So you see here the comparison. Same team up. It's actually a worse team up for Namor because he doesn't have the 36% all attack that Deadpool gave himself. He does take advantage of the fire damage, so that does offset it a little bit. He also has a CTP of Rage, which does offset it a little bit. But look, he did basically a full bar. He did 75% or 3/4 of a bar more than Deadpool with the same amount of rotation. 2 rotations of his skills, 1 to 5, plus his Tier 3 skill. Coupled with the fact that Deadpool is actually very easy to kill. It's very easy to make a single mistake against a high level of Proxima or a high level of Corvus and just take massive damage. Because if you look here at his stats, he's got 50,000 HP and 31,000 physical attack. That's pretty low for a guy that has all 5 and 6 star. I think it's all 6-star Uru, and he's got a mythic uniform. So I didn't skimp out on his build here, guys. This is all mythic and legendary options, and he's got, stage 12, all 6-star. Now you compare this to Namor. Also has a mythic uniform. Also has mostly legendary and mythic options. Yeah, he's got 5 and 6-star Uru as well as some Odin's blessings. But he is at 68,000 HP and 43,600 physical attack. That is more than 1,000, but it's more than 10,000 more physical attack, and it's almost 20,000 more HP. Yeah. Namor has more than 20,000 HP, or 18,000 more HP than Deadpool does. And they both have offensive builds. And he's not even done yet. He's got stage 11 here. So what I'm trying to say is that Deadpool is getting worse, and I noticed it when I push high stages of Proxima and Corvus. He's getting worse because of the fact that if you can't land his all defense down successfully, if you get interrupted for whatever reason, if the boss iframes, if the boss stuns you, or the tornadoes stun you, or the time freeze freezes you, if the boss for some reason just shrugs off, just gets rid of the all defense down. Sometimes it happens. I don't really have an explanation for it. When any of that stuff happens, Deadpool's damage just takes a complete nosedive into the toilet. Without the all defense down, Deadpool's damage is worse than tier 2 characters' damage. With the all defense down, however, he's very good. So this really begs the question. He's obviously not good for Giant Boss Raid, we already know that. He's also not good for Thanos after certain stages because he just can't do enough damage in the second half of the fight. So he's basically sort of like a support character for other characters who deal more damage because you can switch to Deadpool, stack the all defense down, and then switch back. There might be a combo in the future of using, let's say, Dr. Voodoo's leadership with Deadpool and Namor, stacking 140% all defense down with maximum effort, and then going over to Namor and completely one-shotting the boss. I should probably try something like that. But that's the point I wanted to make because I see it, and so I wanted to express that to you guys in a way that you would understand. And I understand that all defense down is something that we've come to expect and something that we've come to, recognize works for world bosses. And, you need all defense down to get to higher stages. Yes, but no, not really, because you can always rely on the strikers. And this is where I think Deadpool starts to lose a lot of points. When there were very few characters that had all defense down, Deadpool was very, very good because he could apply it himself. But now you can go in and you have too many all defense down strikers. So even if we ignore Deadpool, he's an all defense down striker, she's an all defense down striker, all defense down. We keep going along, all defense down, all defense down. Okay, so that's 5 right there. Let's cleanse these 5. She has all defense down. Swordmaster as well. Once I get to him, he also has all defense down. I mean, he doesn't do it very often, but he has all defense down as well on his 5th skill when he uses it. She now has all defense down. She has all defense down on her 3rd skill with her new uniform. They have all defense down as well. Sorry, Victoria. Wow, Victorious, not Corvus. And so you can see the point I'm trying to make. We've gone through, this many characters, and we've already found more than... She doesn't have all defense down. We've already found more than 10 characters, and we're not even through this all attack speed portion of the list. And so when I go and I look at tier 3s, and when I go and I rank them and I grade them, it's starting to seem more and more like characters that can handle their own. Characters that just have a lot of damage by themselves are going to be able to push further, and they're going to be able to just be consistently good across the board. Whereas characters who rely on all defense down, unless they have some sort of other gimmick, it doesn't really work. Now, a good comparison would be Deadpool versus Doctor Strange, because both of these characters deal very low damage with their base abilities until they use their tier 3 skill, which has all defense down. So it's a really good comparison to put Doctor Strange and Deadpool side by side, because they're literally the same characters when you explain them that way. Doctor Strange's energy attack is pretty high. It's definitely higher than Deadpool's physical attack. It's 38,000, but it's still not the highest. She's at 52,000. He's at 46,000 physical attack. You can definitely go higher than Doctor Strange with his own passive, with his 30% passive here. Even Cyclops goes higher. He's at 43,000. We can go see Iron Man. He's at 37,000. So Doctor Strange is pretty low. He's only at 38. So he's just above Iron Man for energy attack. So if he's got low stats just like Deadpool, why isn't he getting worse the way Deadpool is? Well, Doctor Strange has 2 things available to him that make him a lot better than Deadpool, and I think if Deadpool had what Doctor Strange has, Deadpool would be a god, would even be more of a god than he is now. And that is the fact that Doctor Strange has time freeze, Not only does he have time freeze on his tier 2 passive, but he has as well paralysis and another time freeze on his ultimate skill. So that those two debuffing effects and those two crowd controlling effects really help, because what did I say about Deadpool? You stack the all defense down and the damage happens unless the boss iframes, the boss moves away and sort of interrupts the skill animation and the skill targeting, or the boss hits you and stuns you. The boss can't do any of those things when they're constantly being time frozen. So Doctor Strange removes one of the biggest negatives of relying on an all defense down skill. And then secondly, more importantly, Doctor Strange can spam his tier 3 skill a lot faster and a lot more frequently than Deadpool. Deadpool has to wait almost 2 full rotations, so you can only get the tier 3 skill off every like 15 to 20 seconds, even if you're really lucky. 15 to 20 seconds. In that time, Doctor Strange gets 2 tier 3 skills off. He gets them off every 10 seconds or less. So he's doing double the number of tier 3 skills, and even though it's only minus 60 instead of minus 100, there's also the other point that it applies automatically. You can see Doctor Strange is under the stun. It says minus 60% decrease all defense, stacks up to minus 60. So one hit of his tier 3 skill will stack that 60% right away. Whereas with Deadpool, it's minus 3% up to minus 100. So you have to get 33 hits in order for the minus 100% to stack up. If you only get 5 hits in because you get interrupted or whatever, that's only going to be, well, what's 3 times 5? It's 15. You're only going to get 15% all defense down. That's pretty bad if you ask me. So those things also contribute to his waning power level. He's not actually getting worse. I want to make that clear. For those of you that think I'm saying that Deadpool is bad, or that you made a mistake, or you have a weak tier 3, I'm not saying any of that. Deadpool is still an amazing character, and he'll get better in the future. He's going to get another uniform eventually. He might get one in the Mercs for Money update that's coming up very soon. But I'm saying that as more tier 3s come out, as tier 3s like Quicksilver come out, as uniforms like Sabretooth come out that have this insane all defense down that rivals, Deadpool, it becomes more and more apparent that Deadpool is falling behind in comparison to these newer characters. Namor comes out and he hits so hard with his skills that when you give him a couple of all defense down strikers, it's just absurd. So if you go ahead and you go back to that original comparison that I made, and you can do this yourself on any stage, well, not any stage, but on a high-ish stage like stage 40, you can go ahead and give them strikers. It doesn't matter. You can give Deadpool this team up here, and you can give him strikers that, provide some crowd control and provide some damage and to boost his abilities. You can do this because he doesn't need the all defense down, right? He has all defense down on his skills. So you go ahead and you give him this, and then you do an alternate test where you throw in Namor, and this time around you add the all defense down strikers. And in this case, you can even add Deadpool to the list. Guess who clears the stage way faster? Even with supreme luck from Deadpool, like supremely lucky timing on all of his skills, Namor is going to be faster like 9 times out of 10. So I think some of this has to do with Rage CTP as well, so I do want to take that into consideration, and I do want to note that Namor is definitely getting a lot of value from the CTP of Rage, as is Doctor Strange. That is definitely true, but it's impossible to argue with the fact that Namor hits really hard with all of his skills. Even if you give him a fire damage proc, even if you give him a CTP of energy, he still hits really hard. And there are other characters that use a CTP of energy and they can still do more damage than Deadpool on average because their skills just hit harder, like, for example, Quicksilver. Quicksilver with a CTP of energy, I had an easier time clearing stage 69 of Proxima than Deadpool did. That's so weird to me, but it's true. Sabretooth, CTP of energy. He's not a speed type, he's a combat type, but he's tier 2. And he does Proxima with more ease than Deadpool because he's just more consistent. Because rather than waiting for that tier 3 skill, you can stack that minus 75% every, 15 seconds? Okay, every 7.5 seconds. So it's literally half the time or faster that you get to stack that all defense down. So it's an interesting thing to see developing. As, 2018 September, we got Deadpool. He got a uniform a few months later. He skyrocketed to the top of the meta. He was dominating. All defense down was pretty much like a new concept for us. Since then, we've gotten a lot of all defense down characters. We've got a lot of all defense down strikers, and we've gotten more emphasis on characters like White Fox and Dr. Voodoo who can amplify the all defense down. and it seems to be resulting in fewer people, I think, using Deadpool for high-end content, especially when they have other options that are safer, in the sense that they don't die as often, or they can just completely lock down the boss. You know, Quicksilver is safer because of the dodge and the iframes. Namor has way more HP and defense, and Doctor Strange just completely paralyzes the boss, or they just flat out do more damage in the case of Namor, Quicksilver, and Sabretooth. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because I think it's really interesting. And if you guys want to see those clears, comparing those characters at very, very high stages, I'm talking like 75 plus, I can definitely put that together for you guys. But yeah, I wanted to put that out there. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Deadpool in the future. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a uniform, if the uniform continues to buff his all defense down, because his X-Force uniform just gave him an additional all defense down skill. It didn't actually really buff his damage that much, so it'll be nice to see if they actually give him a damage bump on his skills to make him hit harder, or if they just keep making him sort of an all defense down, exploit your weakness sort of character that doesn't actually do a lot of damage unless you stack the all defense down first. So let me know what you guys think of the analysis on Deadpool and the comparison to other tier 3s that have come out more recently, and also Sabretooth tier 2 with the uncanny uniform. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.